Dark Sky Rising, Reconstruction, and the Dawn of Jim Crow by Henry Louis Gates, Jr., with Tanya Bolden. Read by Dion Graham.
Hello, my name is Henry Louis Gates, Jr. You're listening to the audio edition of my book, Dark Sky Rising, Reconstruction and the Dawn of Jim Crow, my very first venture in writing for young readers. The book and its topic are very special to me for several reasons. When I was growing up in Piedmont, West Virginia, our American history lessons were mainly focused on the Founding Fathers and other great figures in American history, such as Abraham Lincoln and Theodore and Franklin Roosevelt. My teachers didn't dig deeply into the reasons for slavery or why racial segregation happened. Back then, history class was all about dates and names, but not much about black people or the historical causes and effects of slavery and racism. This is one of the reasons I became a professor of African and African American studies. Fortunately, I come from a family that loved to read and loved to discuss current events. My parents always taught me that knowledge brings meaning to one's daily life and therefore to one's future. In fact, my mother and father often told my brother Paul and me that knowledge is power. And so when the chance came to write about one of the most turbulent and intriguing times in the shaping of America, I was very eager to present this important aspect of history to young readers. The Reconstruction era remains one of the most pivotal, yet least understood chapters in American history. Beginning with the Civil War and its aftermath, the United States struggled to heal the sectional divide that slavery and secession had caused, while living up to the promise of equal citizenship for all, including the 4 million formerly enslaved African Americans who had played a decisive role in saving the Union and fighting for their own liberation. During Reconstruction, the Constitution was transformed. African Americans built businesses and religious and educational institutions, advanced an energetic form of government, held elective offices from the local to the federal level, organized and voted, and revitalized democracy itself against the longest of odds and a constant violent backlash. Writing deep into the Jim Crow era that followed, the preeminent and pioneering Black intellectual, W.E.B. Du Bois, wrote in his history, Black Reconstruction, that during those transformative years of hope, struggle, and eventual betrayal, the slave went free, stood a brief moment in the sun, then moved back again towards slavery. I am fortunate to be collaborating with Tanya Bolden to bring the story of Reconstruction to students and families who themselves are living through another period of urgency, consequence, and change. In cutting through the layers of false memories and other lost causes, we seek to arrive at the heart of what Du Bois tried to teach us about the Civil War and Reconstruction, and the dreadful period that followed during the so-called redemption of the South and the rise of Jim Crow segregation, the set of laws that enshrined separate but equal as the law of the land, so that you, a new generation of readers, can feel closer to your history and be vigilant about the complicated memory of Reconstruction, redemption, and race in our own time. Our book covers the half-century from the ratification of the 13th Amendment, which legally abolished slavery following the Civil War, to its 50th anniversary during the height of Jim Crow segregation. Our focus has been on presenting real-life accounts of resiliency and courage, creativity and uplift. Hopefully, this book will encourage you to ask questions about the legacy of the Civil War, to think deeply about history, and to develop some of your own ideas that you'll share as a participant in America's democratic experiment today.